the status quo. Get ready to laugh, cry, and ponder the world around you like never before. This is Out of My Mouth.
The views and opinions of our guest and hosts do not necessarily reflect those of New Thought Media Network, or any organization we may be affiliated with. Here at New Thought Media Network, we welcome freedom of speech and courageous conversations. There are many topics that can be difficult to navigate. Challenging the status quo and engaging in lively debate is important to expanding our understanding of one another, and life in general. Creating a peaceful world doesn't happen because no one disagrees, it happens from a willingness to understanding one another. In our programming, we strive to expand consciousness and assist people in creating remarkable lives. Your comments are welcome at info@ntmedia.org.
Welcome. My name is Marg Dupuy, and my co-host is
Cheryl Rogers.
So welcome all, wherever you are, whatever time zone you're at, and we welcome your presence here with us today. On Out of My Mouth, or Your Mouth, we explore conversations that may not otherwise be spoken about. Before we begin, I'd like to speak to our reconciliation. In the spirit of reconciliation and peace, we are grateful for the opportunity to meet on these sacred lands, wherever you are. We thank the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. We recognize our oneness. We realize our history. We choose to create a new reality. We are one. Miigwech.
Thank you, Mark. Unfortunately, our wonderful guest, who we so dearly love, Martha Creek, is not able to be with us here today. So we're sending her lots of love and light, and her brother. She is with her brother who's just had surgery. And so we honor that, and we honor that she's taking care of not just her brother, herself as well. Mm-hmm. So, so Mark and I decided that we're going to talk today about how we got here. What does that mean? How did we get to coming to be together in this space to put on a show? How did we get to the stage of our lives? How we got to what we believe. So many different ways of looking at that, how we got here. So I'm going to open the floor, and I hope that there will be people who put comments in the chat to share with us what it means to them when they hear, how did we get here? How did we get here to where we are in the world? I mean, it's just, Mark.
And to those who are listening, how did you get here? What do you want to ask? Ask any questions. Cheryl and I will be pretty open, and if we don't want to answer, we'll say so. This is Out of My Mouth.
Absolutely. So, and nothing's off the table, right?
Well, most things. And Deja, who is our producer, said that she would come in too and speak her truth on how she got here. And often I say I am here at this cafe and involved in a number of different things because Cheryl made me do it.
Well, and you know, Mark, actually that's a good thing to share, because how were you before as opposed to how are you today and how did you get here?
Are you talking about this show specifically?
I'm talking about the things I've made you do.
Oh, I see. I see. I think I need to backpedal here and say how I first became involved in Unity. And I know this show is not about Unity, but it's a segue to how I got here. So I didn't want to belong to any organization. I'm going to go church. I'm not a church person. And so my partner belonged to Unity, and she suggested that I might enjoy it. And I always joke around and say she brought me in kicking and screaming. That's really not true. I came in on my own free will, but it seems to be a funny thing to say that I came in kicking and screaming. It took me about 3 services before I was feeling okay about being in this space. And throughout the years, I've evolved in what I'm participating with, agreeing to participate with, from helping out in the office to being on the board and working alongside Cheryl. And Cheryl often comes up with some ideas. And she'll say, Marg, what about if we do this? Marg, you could do that. And so one of the things was the spirit group that I'm so passionate about right now. I just finished our meeting for today, and in our spirit group, it's a collaborative team that comes together with a talk and music and questions and whatever. But had it not been for Cheryl saying, hey, Marg, this is a great idea. I have my own free will and I know I can say no, but if it wasn't for that nudge, I wouldn't have had the confidence. And I guess I was like, oh, maybe I can do this. And it's an amazing group to participate in, and I feel well fed by it. So Cheryl, how do you feel about being the nudger?
Well, what I really invite people to do always is to make an informed decision. Often we're asked to do something and we don't know what it's about. So we say no out of fear, right? Because we don't know what we would be expected to do, what's expected from us when we do say yes. So I always encourage people to come and have a look, come and see, and then decide. Which I'm grateful that you took the opportunity to do, because saying no, it's not for me, and you don't know what it's about, can really be robbing yourself of such a wonderful opportunity. And so that's a great example, Marg, because although you weren't kicking and screaming, you almost were. But you sort of came in and said, okay, I'll just come and see what it's about, but probably not for me still, kind of thing, right? But then you also chose on your spiritual path to start saying yes at some point. And so there's been a lot of growth in your realizing, I think, that there's so many opportunities that if we don't experience, or at least give them a chance, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we're turning down.
And I've learned to, so when it comes to spirituality or religion, what I'm learning too is if you have a strong conviction and it's against what I feel or believe, I'm learning to take a breath and go, I don't have to believe what you believe, but I can hear you and maybe take something in or just dismiss it.
Absolutely. And so I think the key is to be open, right?
Mm.
And being open doesn't mean that I'm going to be a sponge, and, you know, take everything in as, and it's a funny word to use because I don't like the Bible, but as gospel. Um, you know, not to take things just because you're giving it a chance and you're open doesn't mean you have to take it in. It doesn't mean you have to do it. Doesn't mean you have to believe it. But what it does allow you to do is think about it. And how does that resonate with me? How does that feel? Is that something that I can hear and perhaps contemplate and maybe even shift my perspective on, or not, right? And to me, that's how we grow. And that's how we've each got to the point that we are in our lives. Because each step of the way, it's like, do I agree with that or don't I? How does that feel? You know, how we respond to things that happen in our lives that seem in the moment to be the worst experience ever, right? Like, why me? And nobody else has ever done this. And then we look back, and in hindsight, it's like, oh my goodness, I can actually see why. And I'm so grateful because it's made me who I am today.
So share, if you like, about you said you don't like the Bible. Why don't you?
And, you know, this is probably going to upset some people. And, you know, I respect that some people do and some people don't. And some people will give the Bible whatever meaning it is for them, whether it be literal, metaphysical, or storytelling, historical. The more I've thought about the Bible over the years and when it was written and how it was written, the less I really believe that it is what the church claims it to be, you know, written by God. Now, first of all, God for me is not a man in the sky. And I know that's the same thing for you. So we have made God in our image instead of really looking at how are we like and in the image of God made, if that makes sense. It's like backwards. But for me, it's all about energy. It's all about creation. It's about our words, our thoughts, and our deeds. And so that's how we are created in the image and likeness of God, is that we co-create our reality. We create our own reality, and we co-create this reality that we're experiencing. So I just can't take the Bible literally. Again, you know, you look at how many years, 90 years, 100 years, 180 years, that these stories were written, that were actually written down. And you just play one game of broken telephone and see what happens, right? So there's that part. But there's also the part that I truly believe that in those days, there was so much violence and so much conflict and so many other things going on, that there was something that needed to be put in place that could give people a structure, something to follow, and something to help turn things around. You know, so I think it was a tool that was used at the time. And I think personally, if you look at the history, and not many people look at the history, and I really invite people to do that because, you know, as I say, I've only been learning this over the last few years. But if you look at the history, the things that have been changed in the Bible to suit the church or to suit, you know, whatever purpose it's being used for at the time, really makes me question how it's been used.
I see it a lot about control. I'm not, as you said, a Bible fan. And some New Age verbiage, I guess I get my backup on. And you just said something, Cheryl. If I didn't know you, I would be like, meh, but I is like, okay, we create our reality. So I think of, somebody's child that is unwell, and okay, so did this child think their reality, and therefore they're sick? And so I've not appreciated that type of language. However, how I can reconcile that type of language is, this is a really plain explanation. So I have planned a family picnic. Everything is all ready. Susie and Freddie and everybody we're all going to meet at the park with our picnic. And it's pouring. So the reality is that it's raining. And so talk about peeing on my parade, right? So I can say, yeah, this is what's happened. What can I do? Oh, we could have a picnic in my basement. So we can still all gather. So there, how I can swallow that, creating my reality, is by saying, yep, this happened. Yep, I'm ticked off that it's raining, and I can bring the picnic into my basement and enjoy the company of my family, therefore creating my reality. Or I can whine about it all day long and be in that negative energy.
Yeah, so that's a great practical example, right? What you're saying is how we respond to things. And I think that certainly is part of the process. And I think that we mustn't forget that we are spiritual beings, which, this is something that I know you do believe as well, having a human experience. So we don't always understand things when we hear certain things about, how do I create my reality? But I really do believe that the things that we think and the things that we give power to, and how do we give power to something is with emotion. That also is part of. I don't think it's a simple, step-by-step process about this is how we do it. I think it's all part of it. I think our collective thinking, because we're all connected, right? We're all connected at some level or another. And our collective thinking also creates our reality, our environment that we live in, the country we live in, and the culture we live in. So it's, I think, a much bigger concept. But I love your example, because that is a great practical example of one of the ways that we do that. And that is choosing how we respond to things, which means it's choosing how we think.
So in a situation for you, Cheryl, something happens to disrupt what you plan to do. How do you shift your perspective? So you go out, you're coming to my house, and you're just about to get in the car, and you have a flat tire. How do you respond to that?
Well, first of all, I probably might swear. I'd say, oh, fuck. And then I would think to myself, okay, I have a flat tire. It is what it is. So what do I do about it? Can I change this myself? Have I got everything I need? Do I let Marg know? But I think, again, first of all, I'm definitely going to have a human response, because I'm not there yet, right? Maybe one day I will be, where I'll just be, oh, well, I have a flat tire. It's all good. But, I'm certainly not going to make up stories in my head about it. Let it get in the way of how I'm going to be for the rest of the day.
Mhm.
It's more about, again, our response and how do we treat whatever's going on in our lives moment by moment.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm going to ask Deja a question.
Deja,
Are
come
you
on,
there?
come
Are
on
you
in.
there? Hi, Deja.
Hola.
So you came on the show today and you said that you had just lost your very expensive sunglasses. And I know the loving spiritual being that you are. How did you react to that?
Well, first I tried to find them. Like, do I have them on the top of my head? What about in my blouse? And when I realized that they were gone, to make peace with me, because I know myself that I would be thinking about the glasses the whole day. So I was like, okay, I'm going to let it go. And I hope that the person who finds the glasses, it's someone who's needing that, and it comes as a nice surprise, a nice gift from life, like a blessing, and I will let it go and trust that someone needed them more than I was needing them. And
Beautiful.
then, yeah, let it go.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
Yeah, that's very good. Thank you, Deja. Is there
Mm.
anything else, any questions that you have come up for with Cheryl
Yeah,
or
well,
I or
you were talking about how we create our lives, and I know when we are in this spiritual path, sometimes, or at least for me, when I joined this movement, if we can call it a movement, I was so into the law of attraction. So whatever I think I create, and then I started to witness that, well, that might not be true. Like, we have power over some things, but we're still human, and we are also get influenced by the consciousness that surround us in our environment.
Mm-hmm.
So because I was struggling, like, okay, I'm creating this, but I haven't been able to create that. Oh, okay, now I have learned that I have to let it go, and then it will manifest. But still, uh it didn't, right? And years passed by, and I was like, okay, maybe it's not the right time, but who decides when's the right time? So I was very confused,
Mm-hmm.
and I just came to this place of making peace with, okay, some things I will be able to manifest, some others not. Maybe it is because what is in my subconscious mind is so deeply rooted that I cannot overcome this. Or maybe it's the raised consciousness that is
Mm-hmm.
influencing everything. Or maybe I won't never know why, but also I don't have to blame myself if I have created something that that's not my liking, or if I haven't created what I have been dreaming for many, many years. And now I just try to see life as one day at a time, and I will have great achievements. And some other things I will have to keep working on them. And yeah, just day by day. But yeah, I was very worried before that, oh my gosh, I'm not using the law correctly. And yeah, then I realized not even these authors that we follow have perfect lives, and
Mm-hmm.
no one has, this is the answer, this is the way, and boom, magic. So it's part of the process of being human as well. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, sometimes it's
Beautiful.
easier to
Yeah.
understand it, and sometimes it's hard, but I'm working on it.
Oh my goodness. First of all, what you've shared, there's so much in there to tease out, but absolutely what you've said is beautiful, right? And
Mhm.
the other thing is, but the word that comes to my mind again is perception, how we perceive things, right? Our perspective as well. So thinking about when we talk about creating something, what does that mean? Does that mean literally? Does it, it's like ask and you shall receive, or give and you will receive back. Well, what does that mean, right? If you're going to give something with your heart and with love, you do get something back. But does it mean you're going to get money because you gave money? I don't believe so, right? I get the joy of feeling that I could do that. There's so many ways of thinking, but we put a perspective and an understanding, in inverted commas, on these things because of how we've been brought up, because of the culture we've grown in, the belief system we've grown up with, the environment, all those kinds of things. So I think that's one of the things. I think the other thing is you did hit on something that I love about Neil Donald Welch's books, In Conversations with God. Somewhere in one of the first 3 books, he talks about, I think he calls it the thought behind the thought. Well, that's how I interpret it, right? We often think that we hear something, we like what we hear, we believe it, but because of the way we've grown up and what's been absorbed by us, we may believe it, but somewhere in the back of our minds, we're thinking, yeah, but... right? We're not even aware of it. We're not even aware of it because it's subconscious. So there's just so many different aspects to and components to what you've shared. But I think the ultimate component is about who we be and how we be right here, right now, in this moment. Right. So when we do anything, I think there's 2 keys: not expecting anything in return, doing it with love, and gratitude. Right? Gratitude. I think,
not absolutes.
Not absolutes.
Not absolutes. Yeah. And when you're talking about what we grew up with, etc., I could go back there and talk about how I was raised and in the Catholic faith, and I have some really positive experiences there. But I also think of the New Age, New Thought, new talk. You said what you give, you receive, and often the way it is put out there, the implication is that you give $5, you're going to get $5 and then some back. And that's something that has grated on me, because yes, I can give whatever it is, whether it's monetary, whether it's my service or whatever. And yes, I do get something back, but it has nothing to do with money, and it has nothing to do with, Cheryl, I'm going to give you something in service. It's not waiting for you to give me something back. It's the joy. It's what I feel in here that is the gift that I'm receiving. And so, languaging, I'm hoping that as, New Thought continues to grow and develop, there's more thought about languaging, more explanation of what the intent is behind the words that we use.
Communication. And you know what? We are never going to fully understand each other because of the culture, because of, even my husband and I, we can be talking about one thing, and then I think about something else and I start talking about that. But he's still on that thing. And he's responding, thinking about that, right? And we can have a talk for 5 minutes and then go, what are you talking about? Right? And for 5 minutes, we think we know, and we think we're talking about the same thing, not, right? Because in his mind, this is what he's responding to and how. In my mind, this is what I'm responding to and how. And because there's some similar responses, it's like, okay, we're on the same page. Well, we're not.
It's time to go for a commercial break.
Okay,
We will be back.
Yes, we'll be back shortly. And
hold that thought.
Okay. See you soon.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Spiritual Center, Kitchener, Om Center for Spiritual Living, La Mesa, Satya Center, Center for Spiritual Living, North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and Center for Spiritual Living, Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for making New Thought Media Network a place to be. Please come be you. And remember, like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Welcome back. I don't know about you, Mark, but I just love having these conversations. I know that sometimes it can feel like we're all over the map, but there's so much that one can talk about, right? And we move in so many directions, which I love. And I just want to share one more thing that Deja, when she shared, there were so many things so many gifts in that sharing. And I love the way you think, Deja. I love how your first place goes to somebody else needed them more than I did. That was beautiful. That really was precious. And one of the things you mentioned was the law of attraction. So again, for me, I don't think it's when I think of the law of attraction, I see a magnet, and it's like, okay, if we get more magnetized or whatever, we're going to attract these things to us in our lives. And I don't see it like that. I see it more that it's about us raising our vibration to tap into what is already there. So I think that everything that we've ever wanted or needed or is abundantly available in the ethers, in the universe, however you want to put it. And it's our consciousness that either can open up to it or blocks it. So when we raise our vibration and we expand our consciousness, we're more likely to come into alignment with it.
Yeah, it's like there's a scale that Abraham Hicks shares, the vibration scale. So yeah, you have to race to wherever you want to be before having or creating what you are looking for. Like it is already there, but you have to reach to that stage. It's not that, oh, come, bring me, give me, right? It's like you have to do the work.
Yes. And it's all work that is on ourselves. The work is within, not looking to anything outside of ourselves to make that happen.
Yes, and I think that this emotional scale is very good, because if we go back to when I started walking this path, I thought that only by repeating stuff like the affirmations, I would create whatever. And then I learned, no, it's the emotion that you are putting into those words or thoughts, because you don't even have to speak them, right? It's what raises your um vibration. So yeah, it's very important to do that kind of work. And then when inspiration comes, that's the second part. Do the other work. Okay, what's in front of me to do? I'm raising my vibration, so more ideas are coming. I'm seeing the doors opening, and now I have to do that second part.
It's interesting you say do. For me, it's be. What do I be now? The less doing we do and the more being, I think the higher our frequency. And the more in alignment we are with responding, like we spoke about earlier, to what's in front of us.
See, what I see from what Deja's saying, so because of where her consciousness goes, where your thoughts go, you were able to let go of the need to have your glasses, right? You would like to have them, but you've let go consciously, you've let go of that need to hold on to, I need the glasses. If I go to the picnic, this actually happened when I was a child, by the way. If I go to the picnic as an example, if I held on to this picnic is not going to happen, or if I had the consciousness, or my parents at the time had the conscious belief, they were open to thinking outside the box, we were able to have the picnic with a group of relatives in the basement. So that door had to be open first before the idea of having the picnic in the basement.
Right. Yeah. And then you respond, and everybody around you was on board, right? So that's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah, as a child, I don't remember I remember us doing it. I don't remember what the response was, other than everybody came. I don't know if it was first, are you crazy? We're going to have a picnic in your basement that wasn't finished. It was just cement. But yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah.
I know.
You reminded me of David Hawkins' book as well, Deja, Letting Go. And in there, he's also got a scale of frequencies and at what level of frequency you're operating at. For example, when you're angry, when you're hurt, when you're upset, and then as we go up the ladder of all these emotions, what that frequency is, and so how it impacts our lives too. And I think the great thing about knowing these things, about having something like that as a guide to look at, helps us think about it and recognize and be able to experiment with it, right? Change it. We think that we sometimes are victims of our circumstances. And maybe the circumstance is we don't have power over the circumstance. Maybe we're not meant to have power over the circumstance. What we do have power over is how we respond and how we react to that circumstance.
Yeah.
Yes, and the more you practice
Mhm.
going a step over the other one, the easier it becomes to move up. And I had to practice a lot. I remember at the beginning it was like, okay, I read fake a smile. So then the dopamine and serotonin will start to be produced, right? So yeah, I was like faking. And well, now the smile is always there. I don't have to fake it.
Mhm.
It's now natural. And also, what has helped me a lot, gratitude. Gratitude really raises my vibration. And so, for example, with my glasses, right? That at the beginning I was like, but then I was like, okay, I'm grateful that I have them this time so long, and they have protected my eyes. And that's when I was able to shift it to, okay, now they will protect some others' eyes.
Mm.
And so yeah, and gratitude, it's very important. When I really feeling down, okay, let's try to get um the silver lining
Mhm.
of anything.
Mhm.
And that's when I'm able to let go, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it takes me a while to get there, but yeah,
Yeah.
gratitude, it's in my like, okay, my toolbox.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's
And
such a great reminder, Deja.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it has
I
helped me a lot.
think we all need an emotional scale toolbox.
Yes.
Because we all have ups and downs. I mean, I was having a conversation with somebody last night, and I was saying, like, if you look at the moon and the impact it has on the ocean, and how much how much our bodies have, how much water our bodies have, it must impact us as well, right? In some form or way. This whole solar flare storm that's been happening the last few days. The planets this year have been in certain alignments that we haven't seen in, I don't know how many years, hundreds of years, and things like that. And that's always like makes me think about how much bigger everything is and could affect us that we're not even aware of,
Yeah,
right?
there is just one thing, one consciousness, one energy, and we are part of it. But this physical form make makes us believe that we are separate from each other, and it's not. So we have to remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. One thing going on. And
Mhm.
I believe that our brains are limited to that and to really understanding and being capable of understanding what that one thing is in this dimension. I do believe we could obviously use our brains a lot more when you hear about how much the percentage that we use them and how much potential we have.
It is
Um,
5, right? What
I
we
think it's
use,
10. I think
5%.
I heard it
Oh,
was
I
10,
thought it
but
was 5.
whether it's 5 or 10, it's minuscule
It's
compared
nothing.
to, what we could be using and developing. And I think that that's going to be part of our expanded consciousness as well. Right now I'm reading books about how animals, and not just animals, insects, consciousness is how much more aware we're becoming of consciousness in animals and other creatures, right? Which we've never really thought about or believed before. And somebody was using the analogy at one time, the earth was truly believed to be flat, and to contemplate it being round was just unthinkable, right? And I think we're at that growing edge where we're going to be learning more about the animal kingdom, the plant kingdom, every living thing around us, and how that plays a role and is part of our expansion in consciousness as well.
Yes, yeah, we are evolving and we are realizing how deeply connected we are. I remember when I was a child that that I was told a dog is a dog, it's an animal, and you don't have to do anything, just feed them and give them a roof, and that's it. And now that I have a dog, my lovely companion Maple, junior producer of this show, by the way, I realized that it's not an animal that you have to feed, and then they have emotions as well,
Yes.
and they want to communicate those emotions to us. And I'm amazed, and I'm learning so much from him. So I hope one day, well, maybe not in my lifetime, but one day humans get able to communicate with animals, like I don't know, telepathy. I don't know how it's going to be, because they have feelings, emotions, and they communicate between each other. So why not start learning us to communicate with them? That would be fantastic, and I think that will help humanity to be more conscious about what we do with our planet.
And compassionate. I think that will grow compassion as well. What do you think, Mark?
I'm thinking, yes, our dog Wally, I'm sure he comes to us at 5 o'clock and he lifts up his paw and points to the time and says, it's supper time. It's supper time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So, and they are, sorry, go ahead.
I was just thinking of the personalities that we have 3 animals at this time. We have had 5 in total in the house at one time, and each of them has their own unique personality and different ways of communicating. Certainly they need the basics in life, right? They need a shelter. They need, pardon
we
me?
all need the basics, right?
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Although they have their own personalities and their own ways of being, they need, the comforts, the normal eating and sleeping and pooping and whatever. And they have their own energies. They express their own energies. So taking that out globally and applying it to our collective consciousness it's I think what you're speaking to.
Yeah.
It's not just the human race, it's the animal kingdom. And
absolutely. Absolutely. And they are animal communicators. There's one, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say names and things, but her name is Anna. I'm going to say it anyway because she's so fabulous. Her name is Anna Breitenbach. And there's a documentary about her speaking to a black jaguar. But I think if you even Google Black Panther and you watch it, it is unbelievable. And that's a piece of the documentary. And then it expands to how she goes and into a pride of baboons who are known to be vicious, and they don't touch her, and she just lays with them and communicates with the lead baboon, the head baboon. and things like that. And it's just amazing. And she says that we can all do that, right? We can all communicate with animals, and we probably could all communicate with each other more telepathy like, if we did expand our consciousness and use of our brain power.
Yes. Yeah.
You're talking about, this is totally separate, but we have a neighbor that we don't know really. We see him on the street. We often talk to people we see as we're walking our dog. And this gentleman passes us by pretty much daily, quiet gentleman. And we keep saying, "Hi, Dave," because that's what we believed his name was. And so we're walking last week, and there was somebody with a garage sale. So went to the items on the lawn, and he walks by, and I said, "Oh, hi, Dave." And the person at the garage sale said, "His name isn't Dave. He lives with a guy named Dave, but he's not Dave." And we just weren't sure. So where I'm going is, what story do you believe? What story did I believe?
Yeah.
So today I see Dave walking by, and I said, "Dave, is that your name? Is your name Dave?" And he said, "Yes, my name is Dave." And I said, "Oh, well, we were at this garage sale, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "The guy that I rent from, his name is Dave too." So there were two Daves. There's two stories within this story. One is, what story what are we going to believe? We could have kept the doubt, right?
Mhm.
Oh, maybe we've had it wrong all this time. Or just ask him and get the full story and more opportunity to engage with this stranger, pretty much. And the other part is, reaching out and talking to people that you don't know. Just a simple, "There's our Maple."
Hello, Maple. Hi, Maple. Hi, sweetie.
Hi, sweetie.
Oh,
The simple connection of having a conversation with a person on the street or in the grocery store, wherever. A simple hello, a simple smile. Deja, you were talking about having a smile on your face. It's amazing. Like, I love seeing your smile, and we can do that for all that we, see and face and whatever. Well, except for the person that cuts me off, then no smile for them.
Well, and what you shared here, Mark, also makes me think about that saying, there's more than one side to a story, right? And so, but here you do have different stories. It's almost like the example I gave about Kevin and I, right? You think you're talking about the same thing or the same person, but you're not. Just so happens that they have the same name, right?
Yeah.
And so there's no right or wrong, because you're both right. So
and your intuition, like, I feel this guy's name is Dave. Wow.
Yeah, and just being willing to check it out and communicate, that for me is key, right? Instead of never saying anything, never knowing, and never greeting them again, because now you're not sure what their name is.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
But
a
isn't
lovely
it
story.
lovely to say hi to your neighbors? Well, I love it. Like, I come from Mexico, and people don't talk each other down there. It's like, because you are afraid even from your neighbors. Oh, well, what if your neighbor is a narco, or I don't know. And here is like, "Oh, hi." I'm the high five person almost when I'm walking Maple.
The royal wave. Hi.
Yeah, exactly. And I love it. And seeing people smiling back, it's my heart. It's like, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, that connection it's fantastic, and that fits us, right?
Mhm, mhm. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And your smile is genuine, Deja. You know, there's a difference between a smile that is like fake or contrived or whatever. Your smile shines through your eyes.
You are talking about it. My friends when I was in high school, because my eyes are small, right? So every time I smile, my eyes get even smaller, close, and they used to tease me like, open your eyes, like every time I was smiling, open your eyes, and I was like, but even though I'm not self-conscious about the smiling, and yeah, I know I smile with my eyes as well. I cannot help it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good for you.
and I feel your heart when you smile. So there's a connection there, which is really makes it really special and beautiful. So thank you for being who you are, and you too, Mark.
Yes.
You know, you're one of the most authentic people I know. So yeah, just so grateful
Thank
for
you,
both of you.
Cheryl.
Yeah,
Likewise. Even when I do this.
even when you do
Ah,
that, because I
play the
know.
violin. Play the violin.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that. Oh, if anybody is complaining about something or, just saying something because they're moaning or groaning about something, Mark plays the violin, which
So
is,
I played the violin for Cheryl the other day, and I asked her if she knew what this was. So I told her it was a tiny violin playing My Heart Bleeds for You. And then I said, "What's this?" And then it's stereo. It's playing it in stereo.
ah, oh, I love it. I love it. What
Well,
a
we're coming
wonderful,
to the end of our show, believe it or not.
I know. And what a
Cheryl,
lovely
anything
way
you
to
would,
end the show.
yeah, how do you want to end the show, Cheryl?
Well, I think for me, you know, thinking about how did I get here and just contemplating and being curious and
Mhm.
open to things that we may have thought were not so good in our lives. I don't know if you've ever done that. And then going back and thinking, you know what? I can actually tell a different story about that. I can
Mhm.
change that. And that's how we can change our past is by
Yep.
looking at something and saying, is that true? And
Mm.
how else can I look at it? And if I can tell a different story, I can change my past. And that's also going to impact my future.
Yeah,
Good
and
one.
I would like to close it with also try, if you cannot change what has happened to you, change the way you see at it, and always try to find the gift, the blessing, because even in deep pain, physically or emotionally, at the end there's a gift, something that you gain. Sometimes you have to really think hard, like,
Mhm.
okay, what did I gain from this? But I promise you, you will find,
Yeah.
I tell you for experience,
You'll
right?
find the
You will find
pearl.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I often say this first for me, I have to feel it. I have to say, shit, this is sucks and to get to the other side of it. And what brought me here today and through my life journey is to be curious. I'm very curious person.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So don't forget to like, share, and comment because that's how you help us uh, get seen by others. And thank you for being here. Thank you for watching today or whenever you watch, and see you next week.
Bye for now. Thank you. Thank you, my
Bye,
my
amigos.
co people.
Thank you.